What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/ProRevenge. Alright, this story's called My Uncle Left Trash in My Car. Obligatory, I'm on mobile, so the formatting might be off. So today my mom and I drove my car about an hour to meet my uncle to drop off some stuff for my grandfather who lives near him. They live about 2 hours away, so we met in the middle. We met up in a grocery store parking lot to make the drop off. My uncle pulled his car up beside us, so my mom and I got out the car to unload some things out of the trunk. When he came over to my trunk, I could see the trash from the fast food, Popeyes, he got on the way to the meeting in his hands. I had Popeyes too. Crazy. We all grabbed something to load into his car, and I honestly forgot about his trash. Didn't think too much about his trash till I was maybe halfway back to my house. It occurred to me that I never saw him with it again, so I got a feeling that he left it in my car. He's a jerk, so it wouldn't be surprising. Sure enough, when I got home and checked my trunk, his gross fast food trash was just sitting there. Oh my god. I hate it when people leave trash in my car. I find it rude and inconsiderate. I get if it's an accident, but that was deliberate, so I was even more irritated. I decided that in order to get back at him, I was going to mail his trash back to him because I don't want it. I didn't want to give my uncle the satisfaction that he could just be a total jerk with no repercussions. I'm currently at the USPS store waiting to ship this package. I put the trash in a box full of packing peanuts that is marked fragile. I put a note inside the trash that says something like, "Uncle X, you left something in my car." OP. I feel so petty, but screw it. Don't leave trash in my car. Edit. Thank you for the awards and all of the comments. The package is supposed to arrive on Monday, so I will post an update sometime after that. Knowing my uncle, I feel like he'll try to do something to get me back. Honestly, OP, you're taking it too seriously, but your response, regardless, is the best. Like, honestly, that's something I would do, to mess with someone. I mean, obviously not if it's someone I'm not, like, you know, having that kind of relationship with, but that's, like, an amazing way to screw with someone, just leaving your trash in someone's trunk. Oh my god, that is so freaking funny to me. I don't know why. Oh my god, that is just, like, the stupidest thing ever, but it's hilarious. Oh my god. But like, if I did that, I'd be like, yo, check your trunk, I left something there for you. And just be like, you ass. But I was gonna say hole, but can't. Alright, this story's called Petty Revenge on My Skydiving Instructor at 7,000 Feet High. This happened in 2016 when I went tandem skydiving. But to tell the story, I need to give a bit of backstory. When I was 17, the end of 2007, I suffered a spinal cord injury and I'm now an incomplete quadriplegic. 2008 and 2009 were difficult, as I had to learn to adjust my life in a wheelchair. Having my dad with me made this so much easier. But near the end of 2009, tragedy struck again when my dad died in a plane crash. Oh. The following 7 years consisted of me having to deal with his death and learning to live more independently. That's its own story, so I'll get to the point. My injury was so severe that, medically speaking, I shouldn't be able to move anything from the neck down, let alone have the mental ability to communicate or even type this out. My diagnosis was incorrect, and I've gone well above what the doctors thought my physical and mental capability should be. I have mostly full use of my upper body and some use of my lower body. Hey, I am very stubborn, so if someone tells me I can't do something, I'll go out of my way to prove them wrong. This being part of the reason why I wanted to go skydiving, to prove to myself and to others that I can do it. Convincing my doctor to give me medical clearance to do this was a big effort, but eventually she did. And then the day came. It was a week before Christmas in 2016. I was 26, and me and my brother were staying with family near the beach. I convinced my brother and our cousin to do it with me. My brother only agreed to do it because I was doing. He's scared of heights. What a dude. We went to the skydive building, which was at a small domestic airport next to the beach. We got harnessed up, got onto the plane, and began the 20-minute plane ride to get to 14,000 feet. That's like the height of Pikes Peak. Nice. Throughout the entire plane ride, my instructor was trying to freak me out by saying things like, "Woo, look how high we are," and "Are you scared yet? It's a long way down." But none of this was getting to me. I wasn't nervous, but excited. When we were at 7,000 feet, the jump instructor started to harness us to them. My jump instructor was behind me, and my brother and cousin and their instructors were in front of me. My instructor leaned forward and said, "How are you doing? Scared yet?" What I said in return was quite mean, but he sort of deserved it for attempting to freak me out. "Yeah, I'm doing good, but now's probably not the best time to tell you that my dad died in a plane crash." I couldn't see his face, but I could feel his entire body go rigid behind me. My cousin was trying to hold back laughter, so I'm assuming he had a look of shock on his face. He stammered, "Oh, before I turned to look at him and say, with a cheeky smile on my face, "You deserve that." He relaxed and laughed about it, then continued to attach my harness to his. The jump from 14,000 feet was incredible, and I'm so glad I did it. But looking back on it now, I probably shouldn't have said it to that poor guy, but in that moment, I felt it was deserved. Hey, in the end, he had a good time because he laughed about it, so that's what matters. Tension can either cause strain in a potential friendship or whatever, but it can also strengthen it once you break it, huh? Alright, this story's called Park in the Handicap Parking Space. Here I was, thinking that I'd run out of entitled people stories that didn't involve my mother, but I'm back with yet another one. This happened a few days ago. I'm recovering from abdominal surgery 12 days prior to when this happened. I was finally feeling up for shopping, and there were things I needed from the hardware store. I'm a 30-year-old disabled female in a wheelchair, incomplete quadriplegic, and I don't have a car, so I got a taxi there. One with a ramp on the back so I don't have to get out of my wheelchair. Mr. Taxi Man, who we'll call Bruce, Mr. Taxi Man, that's something I'd call a taxi guy, dropped me off and I went in to do my thing. Nothing out of the ordinary. When I finished my shopping, I called to get the taxi back. It would be a 15-minute wait, but it was such a nice day that I didn't mind waiting outside. As I was waiting, I noticed that someone was parked in the disabled parking space, but there were no disabled tags on the windscreen. Annoying, but I honestly didn't care at that point. I just wanted to get home. About 10 minutes later, I saw a middle-aged woman walk out of the store and went straight to that car. She opened the boot, put her shopping in, and went around to the driver's side. But instead of getting in though, she got out a cigarette and started looking at her phone. A few minutes after that, I saw my taxi arrive. Bruce, being the most polite and patient man he is, waited for the woman to drive out of the car space. Karen knew he was waiting for her, and she was damn sure that she was parking illegally in the disabled parking space, but do you think she cared? She finished her cigarette and got into her car. We waited and waited, then waited some more, until Bruce got rightly fed up and parked the taxi directly behind Karen's car, blocking her in. This is when things got interesting. Karen began to honk her horn repeatedly for a few seconds before she got out of her car. "What the bloody heck do you think you're doing? You blocked me in a mocking, apologetic tone. "I'm very sorry, ma'am, but I needed the car space and you seem to want to stay there. Just thought I'd do you a favor. Now, if you don't mind, I have a job to do." Bruce gestured in my direction as I gave Karen a big smile. I hate confrontation, so I appreciated Bruce doing it for me. Bruce got into the car and fastened me in the wheelchair into place. All the while, Karen yelling profanities and threatening to call the police. If it were any other day, I would have been happy to call the police so Karen would get a fine, but I just wanted to go home. It only took a few minutes before I was secured in the car and we left. But I made sure to give Karen a smile and a one-finger salute through the window as we were leaving, which made the encounter all the more sweet. First of all, Bruce, that's my new best friend. I don't even know his real name. Ah, damn it! Always happens. Alright, this story's called It's Easier to Ask Forgiveness Than Permission. Screw that, it's not your stuff! On mobile, English is not my first language, etc. I moved into an apartment where two friends of mine lived after we'd been talking about it for a year. I knew one more than the other, so I'm gonna name them roommates 1 and 2. I knew roommate 1 more since he was trying his hardest to make sure I moved in, since before then it's hard to decipher. After I did, we started to make pretty chill rules about how to make sure we could coexist. Big mistake. As time moved on, I started noticing stuff going missing. Hygiene products, sodas, alcohol, snacks, and food mostly. I asked roommate 2 about it. He said he was noticing the same thing and suspected roommate 1. We asked him about it and he denied doing anything like that, but we were not convinced. We both moved all snacks and our alcohol into our rooms. We caught him a few times taking food, sodas, and snacks. His answer to that was that he didn't know it was ours and thought it was his, even though it was obviously ours since he didn't buy the stuff himself. The last straw was when I went and visited my parents over the weekend. I had 1 bottle of gin in our liquor cabinet that I had forgotten to put in my room, and a box of my favorite wine on the floor of my room, which I had planned to drink when I came home on Sunday. I get a text from roommate 2 that roommate 1 had invited some friends over and they were drinking my wine and gin. When roommate 2 saw what they were drinking, he knew it was mine since only I bought the stuff. Roommate 2 says, "Does OP know you're drinking his stuff?" "Nah, I didn't ask." "You know he'll be really pissed, right?" "Well, it's easier to ask forgiveness than permission." Even one of the friends he invited over questioned what he did, but roommate 1 just played it off as I wouldn't care. I was real pissed. He had started to walk into our rooms to take our crap now. We had a stern talking to when I got home about how disrespectful that was. I now started locking my room and then went to the store and bought myself a label maker. Insert evil giggle. When I came home, I started labeling everything that was mine. Food, spices, cooking oils, snacks, sodas, alcohol, soap, shampoos, conditioner, skincare products, deodorant, toothpaste, toothbrush. For some reason, he took an earlier one I had used and refused to admit he took it. Kinda nasty, etc. When that was done, roommate 2 and I started to reorganize all the shelves in the kitchen and fridge to make sure it was super clear who had what. That just meant putting stuff that wasn't ours on a free shelf. For good measure, I labeled the shelves with our names, even where whose towel was supposed to be. Roommate 1 had no more excuses regarding who had what and where. He also had to ask every single time to borrow anything. He had to replace my alcohol as well, which he did. We had no more problems with things disappearing after that. Damn, label makers are magical. No wonder all the preppy white teenage girls love them. Aha! Alright, this story's called Petty Revenge Christmas Edition. I have this aunt-in-law who's this materialistic bubblehead. She goes on about her assorted status symbols, clothes on her kids, her house, etc. We always exchange gifts at Christmas. My wife has a fondness for her, which had much to do with her childhood than the classist weirdo she is today. Anyway, I always had the feeling that she would fake appreciate any gift you gave her but not actually use it. She would make these appreciative and backhanded insults, like the time we gave her a box of chocolates, nougat covered with chocolate, her favorite. So she would say, "Oh, look at these, lovely. I usually get the handcrafted nougat from the Chocolatier XXX, so these will be a nice variation. I'm sure they will be nice." Yeah, no, she is never going to eat those, but my wife called me cynical. We have also suspected her of re-gifting quite a bit, but could never prove it until the following Christmas. One of the key rules of re-gifting is you don't re-gift to the same person that gave you a gift. And so, yes, she gave me back the box of chocolates. I know it's the same one because A, it was pretty rare. Never saw it before or after I bought it. And it was imported from Italy. So I said, oh, these are the same kind I gave you last year. You must have enjoyed these so much that you bought one for me? She turned a little red, but said, yes, they were wonderful. So, when I saw them in the store, I thought I would buy them for you. So I then opened the box right then and there. They were 100% covered in bloom, which would happen after sitting in a closet for a year. A bloom looks bad, but really it's just sugar that's condensed on the surface, so harmless really. Pretending to be ignorant, I doubled down. I'm going for it. I shoved the box under her nose. Here, you love these. Have one. I'm okay. Not hungry at the moment. But you love these. You said they were great. Oh, they were wonderful, but I really couldn't. Okay, well, then I have to have one. They look delicious. She stammered and looked nervous. It's very close to dinner, I said and popped it in my mouth. Delicious. It was gross and stale. She looked red. Then, about 10 minutes later, I started to complain. Not feeling so good. Did you have some seltzer? So she brought me a glass, let out a big burp. That's better. I ate dinner, dessert, drinks. Then after dinner, we had brandy. Those chocolates would go great with the brandy. So I grabbed them, passed them around. Some said, where did you get those? They don't look very good. They have a lot of bloom. I said, no, they are great, and ate another one. The aunt looked pale. About 10 minutes later, I suddenly had another stomach ache. You know, hon, not feeling too well. I had that stomach ache again. We should get going. So we did. I told my wife the story. She was mad at me at first for being a jerk. So I said, she knowingly gives someone a year-old box of chocolates and I'm the jerk? And then it finally dawned on her. She knew it was bad, refused to eat one, but let you eat one knowing it was a year old? The aunt called the next day and conveniently wondered how I was feeling. I said, I threw up when I got home, but I was fine after that. Ah, nice. That's commitment, man. You went... You took it as far as you could with the whole making her feel bad. I like that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.